We are on our way to go and pick up the holy grails of rare, unique, old Ping golf clubs. Best bit, I'm only paying £20 for them. And you can see my ball spot right at the top right there. Oh, painful. Guys, how are you doing? Welcome back to a brand new video. Simon on my way very excitedly to pick up some history. Some history for £20. A lot of average golfers, a lot of people that are watching this video won't know the lawsuit that went on between Ping and the USGA back in the late 1980s. And I'm going to go and pick up some golf clubs to the average person that looks like a pound a stick down at your car boot sale. Go on, have these golf sticks for a £5. And not only am I picking up the most sold set of irons ever, well, I'm not picking up a set, but I'm picking up the one iron from that set, the Ping Eye2. I'm picking up the two models that came out in 1998 made out of copper to resemble the Ping Eye2, resemble the Ping Zings. And these were the last set of irons to be made by Ping before they brought in the CTP, that custom tuning port, to dampen all the shocks, the vibrations, everything else after that. So I'm incredibly excited. I'm going to be giving away one iron, the Ping Eye2, in this video. So if you wouldn't mind leaving this video a like, subscribing if you are new, I'll send it worldwide wherever you are. And if you could comment down below your favorite golf club of all time, because I can tell you these Ping Eye2s will be on a lot of people's lists. 2 1 irons, 1 2 iron, a tailor-made burner, and a Ping ISI copper lob wedge for £20. What a video. Absolutely beautiful. There's something about the Beryllium copper irons that just gets me going and makes me excited, as there just isn't really anything quite like it, with the patina and the material and the history, just all the other stuff that goes on with it. A bit of history about the ISI. Essentially, they brought it out in 1998 after all the lawsuits, everything else went on. It's basically paying homage to the Ping Zing era, the Ping Eye2 era. You can see these little like spider webs out the back there. That was essentially to try and strengthen it across the back of the head, to give it as much control as you could possibly get. Not to mention, it was the only iron, I believe, that was made out of 3 materials. So you could get it in the standard steel, you could get it in nickel, and you could get it in copper. Now, it is slightly controversial, not controversial, but the beryllium aspect of the copper, basically the material, or the chemical I should say, that was used to harden the copper, if you were to grind it down or heat it up or anything like that, it does release a toxic fume. So I believe, so they stopped using it altogether, which makes these very collectible. And then we get onto the Ping Eye2. You can actually see, which I did a video on this probably about 2 years ago, maybe a year ago, which I'll show you some images of now. A lot of you gave me really good comments on that as well, giving me a bit more knowledge. And as you can see here, this plus symbol at the bottom here essentially means that all Ping Eye2s with the conforming groove there, as you can see, were conforming. So essentially, after the lawsuit with the USGA, every iron made after 1989, something like that, would have had this plus symbol. Some other different elements made to the sole, see the normal technological advances nowadays, but this was essentially to show that all irons that had that plus symbol were conforming. That tailor-made burner 2.0 just looks so out of place with everything else around it. I've even got a Mizuno Faldo ID, which I don't think I've ever heard of at all whatsoever, but you can look at these button eyes, 1 iron, 2 iron, and then that lob wedge, massive sole on it with that nice high toe. I'm very excited to obviously go and give these a hit. I think we're going to hit the 1 iron and the lob wedge, take these out on the golf course, get these back to Sanford so you can have a better look. But that's a bit of a history lesson. There's tons of stuff about it. It's very interesting reading, so I highly recommend some of you guys go and have a look. Now I've got these things out on the golf course, it's almost like they've been kept in a time capsule. The condition that they're in, I haven't seen Ping forget normal irons. I mean, even the i2's had a bit more wear and tear to it, but the copper, the amount of patina they've got just over age, as well as I mean, the grips, I mean, you still got the cord left on that grip. I mean, it's worn away at the bottom here, as you can see. But overall, I mean, look at the grip on the 1 iron. I mean, that's like just come out the factory. I mean, that is pristine. Still got, normally I'm using these and it's just a waxy feel glossed over, basically just holding plastic, but that actually still has a bit of feel left to it. And these things are almost 25 years old, or are 25 years old, and they just look fantastic in the bag. And that's why I love this channel and the direction it's taken, as we take stuff that people are willing to almost just throw out, chuck out, and give it a bit of second life. Go on the golf course, play with it, hit it. Don't get me wrong, even in my last video that I did with these, people trying to sell them for £600, £700, £800, they're not worth it. They're not needed. If you can get a decent set of these copper irons for £250, £300, by all means get them, because they're not going to drop in any value. And there's something different to hit. I hit 2 shots off the 3rd off the woods quickly with these two, and guess what? They're 1 irons. They're 15.5 degrees in loft. They're tough to hit. They're not going to be going in anyone's bag, but they're cool, and I feel like they're more of a collector's item. Bit of a wink and a nod back to the past of where golf clubs were. And not forget, this was state of the art. Do you know what I mean? Like, this was the improvement. The i2, 10 years later, look, we put some lines in the back. Much better, buy the new set. So you can see what's happened over the years, especially with technology, plastic, tungsten weighting, new materials added, supports, foam, you name it. But there's something classic about these, that you could just put them back in the bag, play around a golf. If you're a decent golfer, don't get me wrong, these are decent golfers, and it's just something a bit more unique that you're not really going to see out on the course that much. At the zip on it, and I even caught it thin as well. There is one major downfall of using patina copper clubs. As you will see, as my tee shot went a mile off the toe, didn't hit it well, but I didn't clean my ball from when I was playing the 3rd on the woods. Meaning that hurts the eyes to see. I actually had these both on eBay. I've taken them down actually in hindsight, because I don't want you guys bidding against each other. So I won't do an auction with these now. I'll just put them up with a load of other clubs. But the massive pain, and hence why I've just thinned a wedge shot from about 90 yards, is because I've realised if this hits the ground whatsoever, you lose the finish. This is like the softest face ever. If you hit it chunky, or if you hit it out the toe, or if you hit it at the heel, sadly with clubs that have patinaed for this long, it's going to show up rather quickly. And I've absolutely crushed my soul now I've seen that. I don't know why I didn't clean the ball. It was so stupid. I basically just racked up. I didn't want to get in anyone's way. And you can see my ball spot right at the top right there. Oh, painful. Don't worry, in another 20 years that'll obviously oxidize and go away. Oh well, I guess I hit a half decent wedge shot into the green. Right, I want to test these off the ground. I've done the damage. We've already scored the face, which is somewhat upsetting, but these clubs would have been used off the fairway. Majority of the times off the tees, you would have been using your driver regardless. So I'm 225 yards from that flag over there, which I think would be the current distance that players back in the day would have hit this from. I have to say, both of the clubs, when you stand and have a look at them on the ground, they don't actually look that scary compared to, let's say, a modern day 2-iron. The nozzle sits so much further forward of the club face itself. It actually looks very forgiving and almost tricks the eye with a bit more of illusion. And I guess that's because I haven't necessarily played with a lot of clubs around this era. But look at that lob wedge. Look how open that sits. That looks like it's 90 degrees to the ground. I mean, almost zero bounce, or what you can see from the bounce, and that just looks like it's going to go up in the air so high. I mean, that is absolutely crazy. There's no wonder they use the same kind of design of that sole in the Ping glide wedges that we see nowadays. I mean, from the chip, it almost merges into the ground, but also you're going to get that forgiveness as well as control when you're trying to hit a pitch shot into the green as well. 4 shots hit, 2 absolutely missiled towards the flag. Something of beauty, something that makes you want to play this game. 2 other shots which equally I'm going to show you as well. We won't spend too much time dwelling on the bad shots. It really doesn't matter what material, what club, how much money you spend on this game, you're still only going to be as good as your golf swing. The 2 that I hit, and trust me, I hit 1 with each, and both of them I could not hit any better. The only way I can describe the difference is the feel from the copper just felt a lot more solid, a lot more dull. probably what you get with modern day irons nowadays. And it makes a lot more sense now, this kind of fascination and love affair with forged irons and blades and everything else. I think back in the day, when you pretty much were left to your own devices of what material you're using, and not necessarily the structure and the AI and the design and the money that we now spend on golf equipment, the big difference was the materials. Whereas nowadays, I honestly feel you get a decent cavity back, you get a decent forged iron, you get something else, get all the other different models, because technology is so good. When you hit out the middle, I really struggle to tell you which one's made out of which and which one's actually better. But you can definitely tell from these two. Does that mean the copperhead is better than anything else out there on the market? No, I just feel like over the years, 20 odd years, we've caught up with the same feel, same sound, but with cheaper design costs and cheaper materials, which I think is good, because honestly, making copper clubs nowadays, well, you've seen a few of them about, they'll cost an absolute arm and a leg. 225 yards to the flag, and that's obviously gone 230. I'm really impressed. With Sanford Springs greens at the moment, it is still a bit damp and wet, hence the mud on the ball. Still, from 230 yards, for it to stop on a dime, and the copper one as well had a much lower ball flight, whereas the i2 you could potentially say is actually better, because it went further, but it's obviously kicked on. It's carried another 15 yards, maybe 10 yards from the copper one. Obviously, well, I knew when I hit it, it was hit and it was going to stay hit, but obviously it's left me a nice tricky chip on the way back. I'm not going to use the lob wedge from here because, let's be honest, I don't want to do any more damage to them. So guys, here's my closing thoughts. Don't spend a fortune on these artifacts, and that is what they are. Yes, they're rare, yes, they're beautiful, they're stunning, but they're not going to give you anything that what we have achieved over the last 20 years worth of technology. There's a reason that we have hybrids, and there's a reason that we have 5 woods and everything else in between, because it just makes the game a lot easier. Don't spend a fortune on them. If there's a reason why I've taken them off auction, because I didn't want to make this video and they go for 100, 110, 120 pounds. It's just not worth it. I'm going to put them on for 60, including delivery, because realistically that is what they are worth. A bit of history and they're a bit of a collector's item, but pretty much past that there's nothing else to them. However, with that all being said, if you hit a 1 iron out the middle from 225 yards and put it within 10 foot of the flag, that there is a priceless feeling. Did take me 4 balls, however. Guys, thank you ever so much for watching this video. Leave it a like if you liked it, subscribe if you are new, and if you want to win that 1 iron that I have in the bag, the Ping Eye2, then please like, comment and subscribe. Catch you guys later.